howdy everyone, y'all know it's me, Voltage, and I've been waiting almost two, I've been waiting almost 3 weeks, 3 4 weeks for this thing, and it's finally out. Banjo Kazooie versus Yoshi. I'm super hyped for this. Let's not dilly-dally, I'm getting into this right now. Can Yoshi, my main, stay in this fight? Come on, Yoshi!
That exact question. This playable character from the Super Smash Bros. series was entered into a giant fighting tournament using them at the peak of their strength. Who would be victorious? The rules for the series are on screen now. The link for a further breakdown in the description below. With all that in place, let's find out which of these exoteric excellence has more to shell out in this egg-shellerating crackdown exhibition.
Oh my god, enough of the egg puns. I mean, I know it's Yoshi, but still. You don't need to do a million egg puns. I mean, if you want egg puns, I could do a lot more better ones than that, buddy boy.
Someone who's always there for you, someone you can talk to, the anime power to destroy gods. How about someone who keeps you locked up in their backpack and often uses you as a gun? Kazooie, they fall into that final category. Over the decades, this bear and bird duo has traversed many adventures, often in service of fighting the evil witch Gruntilda. Gruntilda is your stereotypical run-of-the-mill witch. Flies on a broom, brews potions, and constantly tries to steal Banjo's sister, Tootie, in order to steal her beauty mark and make her ugly just like Gruntilda. That is such a strangely specific evil. As I mentioned, this witch-fighting duo is made up of two halves, a honey bear named Banjo and a regal bird named Kazooie. Banjo made his first appearance in Diddy Kong Racing, and stands at, well, actually his height is a little bit complicated. If you go off of the measurements of items in Banjo's games, and the fruit and enemies and size required to perform the feats he does, like running on water, he consistently measures in at around 6 inches. I made a whole video about it over on our crew channel. Everything lines up so perfectly, and I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for you meddling kids and the developer of Banjo-Kazooie replying to me on Twitter, saying that he always thought he was the height of an average bear. That is unfortunate. I thought I was really onto something. Anyway, Banjo stands at around 5 feet tall and is a light-hearted, well-meaning honey bear who always has a good attitude wherever he goes. His friend Kazooie, on the other hand, is a bit of a jerk sometimes. All in good fun, though, as she and Banjo bicker and tease their way through the world. Kazooie is the complete opposite of Banjo in terms of personality and number of wings. She's a wisecrack and often starts her fights with insults, but she does more than just serve as the game's version of vicious mockery. This foul-mouthed regal is also Banjo's main choice of weapon, and is often used as a gun, club, bomb factory, or a drill, and sometimes even a form of transportation. When they work together, Banjo and Kazooie have a ton of tools at their disposal, such as gliding, swimming, and even breaking the fourth wall. That's right, this bear and bird have the power that Bill...
Excuse me, revives he is slapped?
Cypher wishes he had. They're often seen talking about how they're in a video game and describing game mechanics. They aren't just all clicks and fourth wall breaks, though. Kazooie wields the magic wrench, which houses many different abilities. It can shoot a tractor beam to lift and throw objects, summon vehicles with frickin' laser beams attached, or just dish out a good old-fashioned wrench whacking. Banjo and Kazooie aren't just limited to fighting with hardware, though. They've also developed a plethora of abilities to utilize in combat, the most famous of which is the Wonder Wing, a powerful tackle that makes the duo invincible as they charge forward. But they can also shoot explosive eggs with a variety of elemental effects, fire miniature mechanical exploding Kazooies, or even use Kazooie like a high-powered drill to break through large boulders. And this fighting prowess extends to both the air and underwater as well, making them truly all-terrain fighters. For example, the underwater attack Talon Torpedo is strong enough to break apart massive boulders and even steel doors. Arsenal aside though, Banjo and Kazooie have some pretty substantial mobility as well. Kazooie can sprint fast enough to run across water while carrying Banjo, and the team can launch themselves into the air with the springy step shoes, or walk on walls with the claw clamber moves. Together, these friends have truly been through thick and thin, by which I mean they've been exploded by thick crates of TNT, and flattened totally thin by a hydraulic press and the massive Stomposaurus living up to its name and stomping the duo into a bare and burnt pancake. But at the end of the day, Banjo and Kazooie have truly had each other's back through the best and worst of times, and it's this exact friendship and teamwork that will carry them into future adventures and a bright future.
That might be enough for Yoshi. It might be enough.
It's often said that the surest way to reach new heights is by standing on the shoulders of giants, or more related to today's fighter, jumping off the shoulders of dinosaurs and sending them falling into pits of death. Today we're talking about Mario's most used and abused sidekick, Yoshi. Yoshi's often seen in mainline Mario games, being able to give an extra jump or protect Mario from buzzsaws and spikes, but Yoshi doesn't let this grim fate get him down. Every single person who's played a Mario game will know the pure joy and adrenaline that pumps through you when you find one of these adorable dinos to help you through a level. And this same upbeat, happy atmosphere carries on to Yoshi's own games as well. Yoshi, whose full name is apparently T. Yoshisaur Munchakoopas, alright, comes from the aptly named island of Yoshi's Island. One day after a chance encounter with a red cap wearing infant, the two teamed up to fight against the evil Comet and his master Bowser. As the years went on, Yoshi and Mario continued to find each other and team up to fight various enemies and thwart Bowser's nefarious plans. And along the way, Yoshi's developed some really reliable methods of dealing with enemies in his path, such as kicking them, jumping on them, or his preferred method, eating them whole. That's right, Yoshi can eat just about anything, after which he turns them into eggs relative to their size. He can even do this to metallic enemies to create metal eggs, which is really just a roundabout way to say cannonballs. With the simple slurp and poop 1-2 combo, Yoshi can eat his way through most of the Mushroom Kingdom. Apart from a digestive system more confusing than the size of Kirby's planet, almost, these eggs follow Yoshi around and can be thrown as a powerful projectile. And these are no soft-boiled eggs either. They're strong enough to break apart large amounts of stone, making them his go-to weapon in a pinch. The sheer damage that these eggs can crack out is no joke. But even without these eggs, Yoshi doesn't really need to scramble in order to find other options in combat. His tongue is super long, sticky, and prehensile, meaning he can use it to grab onto things like a monkey's tail, allowing Yoshi to fling himself through levels, pull enemies toward him, and swing them around, or even just use it as a tongue-shaped punch. Why do I talk about so many tongues in this show? With an eater as freaky as Yoshi, it's no surprise that his palate is unparalleled. There's an assortment of fruits that Yoshi can eat in order to gain special abilities.
Papayas and pineapples turns targets to stationary platforms. Bananas and coconuts turns targets to vertical moving platforms. Durians and peppers turns targets into horizontal moving platforms.
For starter, he has 3 flavors of juice spray, which he can fire from his mouth, with effects that vary depending on what fruit he consumes. If he eats a papaya or pineapple...
Transportation. Under the rules of Smash Racket, transportation is treated as a binary ability. Binaries are abilities that are either resisted completely or not at all. Bounded abilities are, on the other hand, can be partially resisted, such as resisting heat up to 300 Fahrenheit. Okay.
He uses the orange spray, which turns his enemies into a stationary orange platform. If he eats a banana or coconut, he can use the pink spray, which turns them into vertical moving platforms. And if he eats a durian or pepper, he can use the purple spray, which turns enemies into horizontal moving platforms. And all of these abilities are put on display in one of Super Mario Sunshine's most infuriating obstacles. But there's a reason that Mario brought Yoshi along on this adventure. He's not only versatile, but he's also incredibly mobile as well. He's fast enough to run on water with the dash pepper, and he can also jump higher than Jumpman himself, with the ability to take that height even further with his
Flutter jump.
Flutter kick. But if that isn't taking him to high enough heights, he can sprout flutter wings, allowing him to fly even further. If Yoshi wants to clear levels without needing to eat his opponent,
Mess takes 50% less damage. Starman, invincibility, and lethal damage upon contact with enemies. Blimp fruit, watermelon.
These range from the famous size-increasing super mushrooms to the power flower, which allows him to breathe fire. The launches him as an egg extremely fast, and the Starman can make him invulnerable to everything in his games. Anyway, if Yoshi needs the ultimate nutritional boost, he can eat the heart fruit, which makes him invincible, gives him unlimited eggs, and extends the duration of his flutter. When all of this versatility is combined with the fact that Yoshi can survive being shot by a freaking cannon through a brick wall, it's clear that Yoshi is no pushover. He's been a force of positivity and gross mouth.
This might be enough for Yoshi to beat Banjo, I think.
Anyone who faces off against him in combat will find that things are not going to go over easy. But with all that said, it's time.
Yoshi has durability on his side, I think, in this fight.
See if you can type a comment telling me who you think will win and why before I finish telling you about Team C's. If you do, you win.
I think Yoshi can win the fight just barely. I think so. It won't be easy no matter what. Banjo Kazooie are actually underestimated a little bit. They will do a lot of damage to him, but I don't think they'll win in the end because his invincibility with power-ups. That's the one thing that Yoshi has against him that makes him that can make him win the fight. The invincibility power-ups. His power-ups are the main thing that gives me advantage, I think, for
We want
Yoshi.
to help keep our oceans free of trash and
That should help
an
Yoshi
awesome ocean robot.
quite a
Leave
lot.
link in the description below. DM me on Twitter if you donate, and I will happily give you a video shout out on Twitter. But with all that out of the
Come on,
way,
Yoshi.
let's get into today's match between
Please,
Banjo-Kazooie
little buddy.
and T. Yoshi Soar Munchakoopas to find out who will advance on to the next round.
Pika won his round.
And who will be eliminated.
Now it's up to you to do your end and take out this bird and honey badger. Well, whatever the hell Banjo is. This one fight is all that matters for me right now. I need him to win. Mm. Mm. You can't believe the animation budget went into this. You just called attention to detail. Mm. Mm. Yeah. Yoshi's got good range of the moves. Hey, in the market now. Hey, Kirby. That's just boosting Yoshi, you fool. Yeah. Hey, cool. Woo! No, come on, Yoshi, stay in this. Don't tell everybody yet. Why they look? It's done. This fight's gonna end in a few seconds. I can just tell it's gonna end really soon. Oh god! Yoshi wins!
And there you go. This battle ended up boiling down to a...
Yoshi wins. He throws Banjo to space and moves the Banjo ship Constellation. Yoshi will send Banjo flying to space so fast it'll turn to Constellation deck in the Yoshi story games, where Yoshi did to one of the bosses. Yoshi turns Banjo to egg before kicking him so he flies away and turns into a constellation.
Version of an unstoppable force meeting an immovable object. Both characters were much tankier than what their opponent could meaningfully dish out in combat. meaning that a lot of the fight came down to whose arsenal allowed for a greater variety of win conditions. I think that it would be useful to see how each of these fighters' best stats stack up when paired directly against each
Yoshi
other. But
wins!
first, I want to quickly mention our stance on a couple of Yoshi's feats that you're almost certainly going to see brought up in the comments below, and by anyone who tries to make Yoshi seem incredibly powerful. The first of these comes when Yoshi seemingly launches Raphael the Raven far into space and turns him into a constellation. This happens at the end of Yoshi's Island, but isn't as impressive as it may initially seem. First of all, you can't actually hit something so hard that it turns into a star, let alone a constellation. This just isn't something that can be calculated.
While we actually can't and shouldn't expect everything in the fiction to behave true to life, some realism is required to have accurate calculations. Treating something as non-cycles of forming a star system from strength is about as accurate as a random number generator.
It's not a show of strength. What we could do is potentially treat it as a transmutation binary ability, rather than pretending that it's something that would make sense to calculate as a strength feat. But what we think is the best way to handle this feat is to measure how far Yoshi can knock Raphael into.
Hit Raphael beyond visibility. Distance of horizon is 3.1 miles. Raphael's launch speed is 498.89 meters per second. Raphael weighs around 336 pounds. Scale with Yoshi for height. Yoshi's at 197 px here, which is 107 centimeters. Raphael is 385 px or 342 centimeters. Raphael somehow a raven, but he's upscale from the weight of a regular raven. That makes Raphael only 20 pounds, which is definitely not his intention. Instead, we scaled him to the largest bird on ostrich. This gives a much more reasonable weight of 336 pounds.
Distance before he's no longer visible.
Intensity 15.2 kilowatts.
Things in the realm of what we can reasonably measure and calculate with real numbers. And this didn't end up being any more impressive than Yoshi's other feats. I also see people scaling Yoshi to Mario, saying that he could be launched through launch gates in Super Mario Galaxy. But even if we ignored all of the context of how these work and used the most generous interpretation that I can find online of this launch distance speed, which is 820 trillion times the speed of light. Holy crap, calm down, people. Even if we used this speed, it would only be simple reaction speed with our speed.
Most fights, the only speed
that wouldn't be enough for a usable combat speed. In fact,
the only speed that really matters is how fast you can dodge and output attacks in relatively close quarters. This is not only a matter of speed, but a matter of control. Effective combat speed is a measure of how much speed a fighter is able to use in small increments. Character's effective combat speed is equal to the lowest speed they've shown in the following categories. Attack speed, the speed at which damage can be dealt to the target. Movement speed is the speed at which the character can move their body. Speed of thought, the speed at which the character can react to any attacks.
Yoshi and Banjo are somewhat unique in not having very many feats at all that transfer into usable combat speed. They can both run decently fast, but that doesn't matter too much in a fight like this. And there's a couple other commonly cited feats that would be worth debunking, but I don't want to spend that time in this video. Rather, I'll do a podcast over on our crew channel with Real Lemon handling all of those questions and going into incredible detail. Speaking of our lead researcher, Real Lemon, I'm going to pass the mic over to him to give a detailed breakdown on how these characters' best stats stack up to each other. Take it away, Lemon.
Hey, let's take a look at some of the numbers on what these characters can do. While Kazooie can smash his face through giant boulders, and Banjo can throw over a dozen tons of gold like a basketball, their most impressive offensive feat is actually just using a grenade. Here, we can see how the size of the block compares to Banjo's. That's enough for us to measure that this block has over 66 cubic meters of stone. By treating this as violent fragmentation and accounting for the time frame of the attack and Yoshi's surface area, this grenade would have an intensity of 840. Banjo and Kazooie aren't slouches when it comes to durability either. We've seen a number of cartoony feats from them, but their most impressive feat is surviving being stepped on by the Stompodon. This is huge and stretches far above the clouds. Using what we can see of the dinosaur, we can estimate this thing to be standing at 534 meters tall, which is considerably taller than the Empire State Building. What's more impressive than its height is how hard the thing can stomp. By estimating its mass and adjusting for the velocity of its step, we can calculate that Banjo is withstanding an intensity of 14.92 gigawatts per centimeter squared, which is more powerful than the launch of a space shuttle. This puts Banjo's durability well above anything Yoshi can dish out. While you might think that Yoshi's most impressive showing is hurling gigantic metal eggs or launching himself at high speeds through large amounts of stone, his most impressive feat of strength is a deceptively simple egg toss. These eggs are like bullets compared to the massive surface area of Yoshi's more flashy showings, and that means that their intensity shoots way up to 57.08 megawatts per centimeter squared.
That's
Eggs
helpful.
can't even scratch Banjo. Since Banjo has access to invincibility and Kazooie can slap Banjo back to life, this makes physical attacks a pretty underwhelming option for Yoshi. But Yoshi was also too durable for Banjo to easily deal with. We're treating this explosion from a Nintendo Power comic as Yoshi's best feat, which comes in at an intensity of 16.8 megawatts per centimeter squared. But anyway, now that I've put the audience to sleep, I'll pass the buck back to you.
Thanks, Lemon. As you can see, when it comes down to it, both of these characters could hit each other all the livelong day with very little progress. But where Yoshi truly took the lead was his versatility. He's been shown to knock enemies into space to finish a fight, but he can also easily transform enemies into platforms to take them out of the fight, or just eat them entirely. And Banjo's shown before that he's pretty susceptible to transmutation like this. In the end, Banjo was a formidable opponent, but Yoshi just had what it took to crack out a win. Yoshi is the winner, and we'll be moving on to the next round of the Smash Bros.
Thank you.
Next time on Smash Bros.
Who's next? The Minecraft Battle Royale. Enderman, Steve, Zombie, and Alex. In that fight, it's really actually pretty interesting. I want Andy to win, but I don't think he can stay up to Steve and Alex. Zombie is dead automatically. The Enderman alone could take him out. The Enderman just automatically stops Zombie. So that means this fight is basically between Enderman, Alex, and Steve. The Zombie is by no means a fighter in this fight. He's just instantly. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to leave a like, sketch video. And I'm so happy that Yoshi moves on. Both my mains have won their fight. And that's official now. Pikachu and Yoshi are done. And plus Ganondorf, because I have him as a side main, he won his fight. The only main of mine that's actually lost technically right now has been Captain Falcon. I use him a lot for fun, but Falco kind of flew through him and just massacred him. I still want Mario to move on against Mega Man, but nah, he's not gonna. And plus I think the fight between Link versus Ridley, that one is actually gonna be a close fight. I know for a fact. But the King K. Rool versus King Dedede one, why bother redoing that? King K. Rool is so screwed. Bowser versus DK, that's actually an interesting fight. But this one here, I'm personally not invested in this one. But I'll see what happens next in this one. Bye.